Welcome to Power Up Your Practice, the go-to podcast for law firm owners and managing attorneys working on the business, not in it. I'm Ruby Powers, your guide into the heart of law practice management, bringing your insights from leading legal minds, trailblazing attorneys, and expert guests who provide practical perspectives on running your firm more effectively and efficiently. And before we dive in, I'm thrilled to announce that my latest book, Power Up Your Practice, is out and available on Amazon. It's packed with actionable advice for growing a successful law firm. Be sure to grab your copy today. And don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter for exclusive tips and resources. And if you're enjoying this podcast, we love your reviews. They help us reach more attorneys like you who are striving to build the practice of their dreams. Prepare to open your mind, be inspired, and power up your practice to the next level. Well, hey everyone, this is Ruby Powers with Power Up Your Practice. I'm excited to have some guests today from Candle AI, Sujith, Vineeth, and Carl. And we got to know each other over the last several months through the American Immigration Lawyers Association and Tech Summit. And I've really been getting to know more about their company and what it's offering. And but really, a lot of this is all about leveraging technology and finding better ways to save time and to automate. And so, why don't you guys let us know a little bit more about yourself and how you got started with Candle AI? This is exciting.
Thanks, Ruby, for having us. Our background is not legal tech, at least mine is not. My background is actually doing automotive and doing self-driving AI technology for that. But as an immigrant, I had a lot of experience dealing with legal in the immigration space, and I want to make a difference. And we actually got started by doing an end-to-end AI-powered immigration service called Nava. The idea was that we would use AI to automate a lot of the work that is manually done currently. And in that process, while we were doing that for just less than a year, we came across this bigger pain point that immigration law firms and the staff in general was facing around administrative tasks, specifically around emails. One of the lawyers we were working with actually called himself an immigration instead of calling himself an immigration lawyer, he called himself an email lawyer because he spends so much time just managing emails. And, yeah, that's a funny story. And then that's how, when we started, like, we had the technology already to make something for the email use case. So we quickly built a prototype over a weekend, um, and the lawyer really liked it, and that's kind of like how it all got started.
That's sort of funny because, I know there's this show, The Lincoln Lawyer, and I was about to call myself the Toyota Highlander lawyer, but then I don't think it sounds as sexy. But because I have a point to this, I'm speaking on RV lawyering at the ABA Tech Show, and I was like, well, I've been in an RV, but I'm not. That's not my preferred vehicle. But anyway, so to be an email lawyer, I mean, he's not joking. I mean, I don't want to admit when I woke up today to start tackling it, and I do have an EA, so I have it's still, and I use AI and tools and things like that. Okay, yes, I think this will resonate with a lot of our listeners, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, we didn't know coming outside from, like, outside of legal, that is a big problem. And we know there are a lot of tools out there, like, that can be assisting lawyers with the email load. But it was interesting that none of those tools were able to really solve the problem that law firms were having. And with that, we applied to pitch at the AILA fall conference in Dallas. And um, and that's where we actually got, to interface with a lot more lawyers and other legal tech founders. And it just made sense that, that this is a problem worth solving, and we just got into it.
Yeah, I mean, I was really excited to get to know you all during that process because it was sort of like the startup alley at ABA Tech Show, but Ayla had their own opportunity, and being the chair of the summit and getting to know half of the those who were being able to present. It was selective, and we didn't let just everybody, but then in the process, I got to know a lot of the different companies, and so and even in that process, you guys changed your name in between. I think starting it, right? I had to sort of do a double take.
Exactly. It coincided around that time, even though the name change was because we had a potential trademark issue coming down the road. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but it just happened around the same time.
And didn't you guys give out candles or something? I think I still have one, actually. I think I
Yeah.
do. I mean, this wasn't product placement or anything. I think I still have it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Sometimes I keep random things, but I thought this was cool, actually. It's easy to remember the candle. Um, but it does remind me just how legal tech, you have to sort of move and flow, and you don't know, hey, it's a different name, it's got a different purpose, maybe. I don't know. You want to serve the needs of your customers, clients. So basically, how do you? I mean, whether or not someone uses Candle AI or some other tool, because there's some different ones out there, and it's does it integrate with your email? Does it integrate with your case management? What are some of the things that someone should look for in a program that's trying to make them not the email lawyer, basically?
Yeah. Carl, if you want to take that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I think you might be alluding to the fact that lawyers might be resistant to technology in general, Ruby. And so, in order to overcome that, there are some things that we try to do, to try to kind of get over that hurdle. One is first of all, it's just the realization that lawyers aren't trying to be resistant to technology on purpose, right? Lawyers are pretty cautious. They're dealing with high stakes cases, regulations, time sensitive client data. So we respect that. But instead of asking them to change what they do, it's kind of like what you said earlier, in terms of you don't want to reinvent the wheel. So we work with them, and we try to do a few things when we talk to firms pertaining to this particular product. Is one, we try to make it seamless with their current systems, right? I think any AI product should, in order to for lawyers to adopt, it's probably ideal for it to kind of sit on top of, and I'm using that on quotes, sit on top of their current workflows. So it doesn't require a crazy overhaul, right? And that's kind of what our tool does. It kind of integrates with your case management system and your email platform. So no, there's no new systems to learn. I think that's one key point in terms of what we do. I think another thing is that we want to create these aha moments, these magic moments that lawyers can feel and see, but we want to do that right at the point of frustration. So they don't have to look through different places. They the aha moment actually happens right there. And I think the way we try to do that is we know that email is a pain point, and we have that aha moment right on the email page, right on the email screen. So we're trying to connect that aha moment, that magic moment, right at the point of frustration. And I think thirdly, I think it's really important for us and any kind of AI company when they're dealing with law firms to really understand what the objective is of that person who's using the tool, the daily objective of what that person's trying to do. And so, when a lawyer or paralegal gets an email, what is that lawyer or paralegal? What do they tend to do? What is their objective? What is their goal on a daily basis when they open up an email? And I think with that understanding, we can help facilitate that. The AI can help support to achieve their goals faster. Is it trying to find a document? Is it trying to find information about that client if they're looking at the email? What is that end goal? That specific end goal that they're trying to do on a daily basis. And I think, with those, maybe a combination of those three, um, I think that's what we're trying to do. And I think that's one way to kind of really help, law firms avoid being an email attorney and adopt this type of AI technology.
Yeah. Yeah, just to add on to that, like I'm more of the tech side of things at Candle here, and like this is completely new for me. Looking into the legal tech side, um, things that surprised me are there are solutions which are not being used, which are available, but lawyers historically do not have time. They're running, more than the allocated hours in a day. They have 25-hour days most days, and there's no time to pause and amend their workflow. So I think one thing that most new tech does not take into consideration is how can you ease in to the workflow. You can't expect lawyers to just completely change the way they do things, because that introduces more errors. And they have to relearn these years of the wealth of knowledge that they have. So that's also one of the things that we consider, and easing them in to adopt slight changes in the workflow is what is going to translate to a win.
So if someone had no idea what Candle AI was, like, can you explain it in just a few sentences?
Yep. So as we've already talked about, lawyers are one of the professions where there's a large volume of emails. I had no idea this was the case. Um, I've heard figures like more than 100 emails per day, and I cannot imagine that. And apparently, that's just for the average lawyer, and most lawyers get more than that. Um, this is something that can be solved with technology. Lawyers, like I mentioned, do not want to move on to completely different solutions, which might disrupt their daily workflow because they don't have time to change. And there's also the hidden risk in terms of would this new workflow work and so on. So you can't expect them to completely move to different workflows. Um, so what we do is we try to add things onto your existing workflow to maybe shortcut some of the steps that you might be taking. This is the way I view things. So we try to understand what the current workflow at a law firm or for an individual lawyer is, and see, are there steps that this lawyer is taking uh, on every one of those 100 emails that they get daily, that software can make faster. So our current product is about assisting responding to emails. So we have this product called the Candle Email Assistant, um, which helps you respond to emails that you get. Right now, we're focusing on client emails because that is the bulk of emails that you get. Um, we show you relevant information about the client. We're integrating with the most used case management systems out there. And we can show you all of the information that you need to know about the client. This information is picked based on what the AI thinks is most relevant. We can show you previous templates that we've used. We can generate a draft email that you can directly use to respond to these emails. And that will be context aware, that they know exactly what's going on with the client. They know all of the information about the client. And this response you can even directly use, or you can change before you respond. We have a lot of additional features in the pipeline, but this is, in general, we want to provide shortcuts in your workflow that you have, so that you don't have to get up and move to a completely different thing on day one. You ease into changes in your workflow and see which of these shortcuts do you want to take for this particular email response.
And
But
okay.
I was just going to say, just to support that, because like Puneet was saying, we integrate into your email, we integrate into your case management system. It's all about reducing the overall time on emails. And we feel that we could reduce the overall time on emails by half, at least half. And that translates effectively to pretty much giving you or buying you an extra work day in the week, right? And that's really the output that we are trying to achieve based on this AI.
Well, that's what I was about to ask, because like there's Gemini, and then there's like Chat GPT, and there's like these other tools that are out there, but it seems like what and then there's like non AI type of things, like you could have already had like a template to, I want to hire you, how do I contact you, and it's like, oh, this is our email or phone number, you can schedule online, um and or like, this is how you do this, or this is how you do that, and the commonly common response, canned responses. But what you guys are building out in the product is that you don't have to move around, and it can connect with your email and your case management. So
That's correct. Yeah.
and you're focusing predominantly first on like client email common responses, because like in immigration it'll be like, can I travel, or can I do this, or when do I need to renew my do whatever. Now I will say things have gotten a huge wild card now with the change in administration. Like even in the last 24 hours, a new form, a very, very common form, was just announced, a new form with no warning after only 2 weeks of the last update of the same form. And so, we're all sort of like, what just happened? But it's just, I think we're in this world where if you're given something that you can edit as opposed to having to create, like that saves you so much more time. Like even I'll, before even knowing what a Candle could do, like, or just trying, I'm pulling, like trying like Gemini here or ChatGPT here. Like sometimes I'll be like,
Exactly.
help me write a response to this. I'm
Right.
like so exhausted, like, but I was having my EA drew drafts of emails, and then I have to still go in there though and make sure I liked them and stuff like that. Honestly, I don't really want to know how many emails I get every day. And then I'll wake up early and I'll be like, okay, or stay up late and I'll like knock out a whole bunch, and then I'll come back to normal working days and hours, and then start people respond to me. No offense, don't mean I don't want you to respond
Yeah.
to me, but it's just like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
at some point this will need to end. This
Yeah.
asynchronistic communication.
That's
Um,
Yeah. Go on,
so
Sajid.
yeah. So what I want to add is, there is ChatGPT out there, there's like Gemini out there, uh, but all of them just assume you are a regular user. It doesn't really know you or your firm and what the full context of what that client is asking you, or like your context for answering it. I think that's where our AI becomes really powerful, is that you can actually feed it um, all integrations with your existing tools. So your case management system, or your knowledge base, your files that you're managing internally for training your staff, can be used, and AI leverages all that information first to pull that information and show it on the site, right? So when we show a product to potential customers and immigration attorneys, one of the features they love the most is actually pulling that information. It's not really writing the email that's the most difficult piece, but finding the relevant information that they need to respond to an email is hard to find. So like they have to juggle between different tools, or like find for that one particular document which is hidden somewhere in the SharePoint or Google Drive. Finding that information quickly and showing that to them is a big time saver that the lawyers absolutely love. And on top of that, it's features like Gemini that they have, like drafting the email. That's just cherry on top of this.
Specifically, you don't just want the answer, you also want to be able to verify the answer. And we have to make it easy. Whatever AI tool that you currently use, like ChatGPT, Gemini, when it responds and gives you an answer, you will have to verify that answer somehow. And our product, one of the things we specifically want to do is make it easy to verify that you got the right thing.
This might also be like an indictment of like the current software system out there, because as you know, like I'm actually a former immigration attorney, movie that transitioned into tech and product management, and I know how many clicks it takes a lot of clicks to find something in a case management system. I don't care what case management system you use, right? It takes several clicks. And just imagine the type of time that's kind of wasted when you get an email and then now you have to like switch over to your case management system and then try to find something, clicking 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times to try to find something. It's, I mean, imagine, and the pain. I don't have to expand on it too much. But then, then you find the information. Then you have to start writing the email once you're set up. So it's that type of context switching, and just, that's what we're trying to. So that's a big part of what we're trying to solve.
And I think when I was working with you guys, you were asking me lots of questions about like, what type of emails do you have and what do, people do? It's like, well, my legal assistants have certain types of emails. It's like collecting documents and drafting and questions and stuff like that. And then I get different ones like, oh, I want to schedule a consult, or oh, I want to interview you for this, or I don't know, like or let's have meeting or something. Like there's just a whole bunch, and you can filter things, but you still have to go through things and find best practices. So I think for like if somebody were, whether or not they were going to explore Candle AI, what are some of the things you think is a good way for someone to sort of like look at automating their email life? Or like, because it's very similar to, so you guys were asking me lots of questions like what are common responses or types of emails, I think, right? So what would you say to a practitioner, law firm owner who's trying to get organized?
So in the process of developing Candle AI, we actually talked to a lot of immigration lawyers, and we know how different the email management is for each firm or each lawyer. And I think one of the things that most people do is have rules that automatically categorizes these emails into buckets. But one of the risks there is that you could lose some important emails and hide it in one of those boxes without you even reading it. So there is the way we want to avoid that is we want, by reading each of the email, the AI will be able to really pinpoint, okay, this one is an important email. You cannot just stash it in a bucket and just hide it from your main inbox. Um, so said that like that still works if it's like a newsletter or a news feed. You can still have like categorizations. You could have like client only emails categorized and ruled into like one bucket. um, there are lawyers, I think most lawyers also file the emails into case management systems, so
Mm.
you have the entire history of a client communication, whether it's email or whether it's like phone call, all of that in one place, which I think it's really good. So that like whether it's you or if you are on leave and someone else is using and the client is asking a question, you have all that information in a place, and no one is confused like what was the previous communication that happened with this client.
That actually happened. I Yeah, I filtered some things to be amazing and awesome. And then one day I accidentally found out that someone emailed me directly. It wasn't like one of those newsletter ones, and it was hidden in the filter, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's so embarrassing. And then I also have another situation, which I don't know if I should be saying all this, but I guess it's true stories. Where somehow like an assistant put a filter that to delete every email from this one person, which was really horrible because this person was like the committee chair, and I needed to read her emails. And so like I was like, why is this always getting deleted? And then we had to solve that. But um you might not know what filters your team, you might have accidentally built it or an assistant might have. So that's actually another really good tip. So watch your filters and check in on them every once in a while. And like I use Gmail, and so I know there's so many different ways you can set things up. Like you can have it like mine set up to primary promotions, social and forums. And I almost never look at promotions, social and forums, but sometimes it gets me into trouble because my forums has all those listservs I'm on. And so, and then sometimes they might be saying something I need to pay attention to.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the risk, right? Like you look for convenience, and that you might lose out on stuff. We have heard horror stories from lawyers who had issues with their bosses because they missed a very important communication. There was like a rejection from USCIS, which they missed
Oh,
because it was like an automatic notification that came from a software tool, and this was like getting filtered out and put in a different bucket, and he missed that one. So yeah, so that's the problem currently with the solutions out there. It's it's trying to be smart, but there are some issues where you don't want to miss out on some stuff. So we are working on using that similar filtering tool, but being more intelligent about it by using AI.
what do you think would be like another good tip for someone listening on just email management or how to get more organized?
I would probably say take advantage of templates, right? There's going to be recurring uh, types of emails you get that you've answered before, and so I think there's a couple of things though with templates. One is you kind of want to make sure that one, you update it because it could get stale. As you know, there's constantly changing regulations these days. And number two, you should probably kind of keep it close at hand so that it's easy to find and search, and so you can grab it, right? Um, I think that's one of the things that we do well is that just like with the data we show right on the email screen, we also show templates that you have right on the email screen. So you can actually find your templates very quickly with our tool. But generally speaking, yeah, templates is key, right? Like even when I was practicing, um, the templates really save a lot of time. We're going to be trying ways to how to to kind of personalize the templates because as you know, each template you have to tweak. It's not just put it, copy paste and put it there. You just have to kind of personalize it to the actual email recipient as well. But yeah, that's a huge. I think a firm that handles and manages templates well is a huge time saver overall for client communication, and it also kind of gives a like a brand. Uh, there's one template for the firm that everybody can use, so there's a consistency across the firm, like a brand presence that goes out.
Yeah, that's a really good point because I think initially you're like, oh well, I'm just responding here and there, do, and then you realize, wait, all everybody's doing the same thing. Why not templatize it, make it concise and consistent, and then and share that the load and you don't want it'd be a horror if someone's like retyping it every single time, and yeah, I think I always say that like you might be looking to ways to save yourself time, but also be thinking about your team. Want to save them time because if you're the boss, you're paying for for all of that, and so you want them to be as efficient as possible. And if, pretty much, I'm at this point where if they're not using an AI tool of some sort, I'm not happy about it because I know we're probably doing something a slow roll way.
And that's applicable to like not just legal, right? Like even we as
Yeah,
a company, we are integrating a lot of AI tools because we know that makes us much more productive without it. So for example, like our software programming involves a lot of back and forth with AI to like make sure that it's the best practice and like speed up the actual coding process. So I think going forward, that's one big thing that law firms can do is to improve productivity of their current staff by integrating a lot of AI tools. Emails is just one of them. There are tools out there to like automate the drafts of like the actual petition. There are tools out there to like automatically record the transcripts of all your consultation calls. AI to like take intakes. Um, a lot of some of them may be still in a very early nascent stage, so we need to be careful about that, but still like there is a lot out there, which can improve the productivity of each legal staff tenfold. So why not do that?
I'm actually helping coordinate a little roundtable with Ayla, but I mean, I think it's applicable to all areas of law of just how to maximize, how to leverage AI in your like onboarding it, or your consultation space. Like from, do you use recording or summary and, getting those notes about the next steps, debrief your assistant, maybe contract requests.
Mm.
But yeah, those are definitely you leverage these tools, right? And so I think what was great about having you guys on this episode is just really letting people know that there are tools out there that are increasingly tailored to lawyers and to sort of like make our lives easier in terms of being so we could just live in one space and integrate with our case management and our email so that we don't have to hop over somewhere else. Because like even as much as I love going to a chat GPT to help solve my, more like these emails that sometimes, like I still have to go over there and like copy and paste and like make the, request and stuff like that. And then, it'd be nice if all different scenarios, I mean, I think like, I probably have a lot of random scenarios. And in fact, and I'm thinking about it, I don't think I've actually written out all the different types of emails that I get, but I should, because I should be
Yeah.
thinking about how to
Yeah.
to automate them as much as possible.
Yeah, well, one of the ways to think about what AI enables is software historically used to be very rigid. Like
Uh-huh.
even the filters that you're mentioning on your emails, like you're saying, hey, every email from this person, or, if the subject has this title or this specific word or something like that. And that's how you set the filter. It's very rigid. But what
Mhm.
AI allows you to do is make it very fluid. Oh,
Mm.
if it relates to this, then please throw it in this pile. If it's from this person and it relates to this, it's not promotional or something, throw it in this pile, and so on.
Mm.
The fluidity is like a huge thing. It enables a lot of new functionality in a lot of new ways, and it's still being explored, especially in legal tech. I think there's a lot of scope for improvement and a lot of tools.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So it's more like adaptive. I didn't even know that you could do that actually. That's awesome. Well, I think we're getting to the close, but I wanted to ask one general question on this topic. So if AI is rapidly transforming the various industries, what do you think are some of the most significant opportunities in AI in the legal sector in the coming like 5 years?
Yeah. So as I said, I've recently gotten visibility into the legal tech space. And like I just mentioned, the possibilities with being able to make decisions which are fluid, decisions which are based um, on the gist of things rather than on very specific things is going to be applicable to very different areas all over the legal tech space. I think over the next 5 years is when we'll see the whole breadth of all of the different possibilities. In the past, when a tech transformation has occurred, like lawyers used to be huge on paperwork, not transforming to computers, not beginning to use computers, even though it really helps. I think this time around, lawyers are already very receptive to understanding that AI can help. It's just the AI software is still in its infancy, but when there's proven software out there, I think lawyers will be way more receptive to change and use it than the old days. Um, Specifically, like I think there's work that lawyers like to do, and then there's work that lawyers don't like to do but are forced to do. The work that they don't like to do and can be automated will very easily get automated, especially stuff like emails, which drain you, and there's a lot of it. And even if you respond to 100 emails per day, you don't necessarily feel like you're getting better as a lawyer. You're not learning. A lawyer who's responded to 500 more emails than another lawyer, you might not view them as necessarily a more experienced lawyer. So do you consider these specific things that you do to be pushing you further in your career? And if not, why are you doing them if it's possible to automate them? I think there are a lot more of those areas um, that we're still figuring out. Because AI has opened up this whole host of possibilities. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be going back to where we started. If they filmed the Lincoln lawyer sitting down and doing emails, I don't know if it'd be so thrilling, or like, or the lawyers on Bosch, or just I don't know, any of those shows, the Suits. I mean, how often are they ever really sitting down and writing emails? Like they're always just talking about stuff. And like you're like, really, is that what lawyers do? Anyway, I think when people go to law school, they don't realize how anyway. Well, hopefully you can wipe out the emails from this, and so we don't have to. We could focus on what we enjoy doing. That was a really provocative question. Like, what do we enjoy most about being lawyers? And can we? And I do think that that's what's going to happen in AI, in technology, is there's a lot of people, talking about. I was just looking at this article I read by Jordan Furlong about preparing lawyers for the no win scenario, and the Kobayashi Maru, and he was talking about the Starfleet scenario, but and just like how a lot of times we feel overwhelmed by a lot of the change and trying to overcome all of that, but anyway, it's a little bit more complex by that. But I think a lot of those who listen to this are trying to improve, and I think we're like, I mean, I'm promoting ABA Tech Show. I'm speaking there. I'm a board member. I mean, I think that's a really great place to go. People to get to know other program vendors and other people who are really thinking in this space, thought leaders, and just think outside the box and finding ways to automate. And even if it's just like you guys were mentioning, those like small incremental changes, you can have a big impact later down the road, which is so critical. Well, as we conclude, but there's three of you, so I've got a few questions. So I'm just gonna throw it out there, and whoever wants to answer it, let's see. What is a habit that contributes to your success?
I can take that.
Okay.
Yeah. One thing that I've really found is very useful is if something takes less than 5 minutes, I try to do it immediately. And this has contributed to success in multiple ways. It just takes care of all of the mental load that I have, and I don't need to worry about it. And that's actually been really good, not just in work, like in my personal life as well. Yeah, and it's you call that person you've been wanting to call, but keep it less than the keep it to the time that you're comfortable with. Personal life, it can be implemented anywhere. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. I've heard of that before, and I think that's a really good point. We don't really put the impact of that mental load and the procrastination avoidance factor that it loads us down. Okay, so next question. What is a like favorite podcast or book you're like, "Oh my gosh, it's so awesome. I have to share that."
I can go. There is one podcast that I listen to very religiously, and unfortunately, it's not about legal. It's about building companies.
About what companies?
Building companies.
Building. Oh, okay. Which one?
It's called Social Radars. It's actually run by
Oh.
this person who co-founded a accelerator called Y Combinator, which is the world's best startup accelerator. And she brings in other founders who are very successful on their early life stories, and behind the scenes stories about like how they were able to go through that building process. Like from an outside, building a company seems very glorious and like glamorous and all that, but in reality you are going in day out, struggling and building stuff and like going through like things that no one else wants to do. So it gives that personalization, humanization to these companies. And we're talking about like really big companies that came out of this accelerate, like Airbnb or like Stripe, and these companies, like the early life stories of these founders, and it's amazing that to at least come to know that the others also went through these kind of struggles. So it's not just you; it's part of that journey, and yeah, it gives me comfort just listening to those stories.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah, I think whenever I I would watch like Read Inc. or magazine or something, I was like, oh, those tech companies, they like make gazillions of dollars and they just like had an idea, but like there's a lot behind it. I now realize as I've talked with a lot of different tech companies, like there's an idea and then there's that leap of faith and then there's that research and then there's the continued leap of faith and then there's, are we going to go out and do this, and it's and not all of them are succeed. It's just the ones that succeed are usually the ones that make it in the magazine or the news or the IPO or whatever. So,
Right.
um, so Carl, you get to choose between what is your superpower or your favorite board game.
Oh,
So you get a choice.
I'm going to have to say board game.
All right.
And my answer is Monopoly.
Okay.
Classic Monopoly, because there's been like 20 editions since the classic.
There's a lot of different editions. Yeah.
But I'm talking about a classic Monopoly. Play it with with the family when we go out on vacations. My favorite piece is the top hat. That's what I always pick. The top hat is my favorite piece. And I have developed a winning Monopoly strategy. And if anybody wants to know, talk to me.
I sort of want to know now. I don't know if we're allowed to say it on air, but
steal money, right? That's the one.
No. I think I tend to avoid like the more expensive ones at the start. It takes a lot to develop money wise.
Okay.
There's like one color that is like statistically most landed on, and I think that's orange. So I've done some crazy research on this. I am a
Oh wow! You're not kidding. This was a good question for you.
I'm ready.
Monopoly is like the most common answer, but it wasn't my favorite, but I do like to hear people's excitement about it. And like, what do you think's the longest you've ever played Monopoly?
Oh God! Oh,
that game's still going on, right, Carl?
You just like keep it on the table.
It's we just keep it on. Yeah. There's been like a couple days where we would leave it on there and then play the next day. Yeah.
And you like have to take a picture to like nobody move anything or something. I don't know. Or was everybody trust everybody?
With the family, I tend hopefully nobody moved anything. But now I'm actually thinking back. Now wait a minute.
Well, competitive, I guess. But anyway, well, it's been great to have you guys. How can they find out more? Maybe each one. How do they find you on LinkedIn, and how do they find out more about Candle AI if they want to connect afterwards?
Yeah, no, the best way to know about a product is probably through our website. It's trycandle.ai, so TRY and then candle.ai. And from there, you can probably reach to all of our LinkedIns. If you go to like the company LinkedIn, then you can find us there. But yeah, we are open. You can see the option to like schedule a demo there. We can like onboard you right after, show you how you can cut down the time you're spending on email and don't worry about it too much through Candle. Right now we are focused mostly on immigration lawyers, so this is like the best best tool for immigration lawyers at this point, where like all the case management integrations we are focusing on is for immigration specifically. So yeah, excited if anyone can use the product and save 2 hours a day, which is equivalent to a day gained per week. I'm excited to increase that boost of productivity to the law firms out there.
Wow. Don't make us do the math, because then that means we can save years off our life potentially. It seems like, I don't know.
Right.
Wow. That we spend on email. Well, thank you so much for being behind this innovative tool, seeing that need. It's been great getting to work with you in different capacities and just the inquisitiveness, and you're trying to solve a problem for lawyers and law firms and trying to provide a tool, resource that can make our lives easier, better, and also basically respond back to clients. Because what we didn't mention is that usually one of the things that lawyers get in the most trouble for is not responding and communicating as efficiently and promptly and everything. And sometimes it's like we just get a little stunned by a question and we let it sit there for a little bit. And then it goes back to what Vineet was saying, if it's going to take less than 5 minutes, just knock it out. And so maybe we should, use all of the above advice we just learned today. But anyway, thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Thanks for listening. You can always stay in touch with us with Power Up Your Practice, the Facebook group, and also you can check out the book on Amazon. And we'll be here next week with some other great guests. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Power Up Your Practice Law Practice Management Podcast. I'm your host, Ruby Powers, and it's been a pleasure sharing this time with you. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to leave us a review, tell someone else about us, and we'd love to get this podcast shared with others to reach more listeners like you. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter for exclusive content, tips, and updates straight to your inbox. And exciting news, our book, The Power Up Your Practice, is out and available on Amazon. It's packed with strategies, 25 chapters, to help you elevate your practice and achieve your goals. So join us next week as we dive into more advice and insight on law practice management. We'll see you next time.